So thank you for joining us and for taking part in this highly topical discussion on Germany's evolving role in European security. My name is Tuomas Isomarkku. I work as a research fellow at the Finnish Institute of International Affairs, and I have the pleasure of moderating this discussion. Now, as all of you know, the context in which this discussion takes place is, of course, Russia's brutal and continuing invasion of Ukraine, which has now already lasted for 6 months. It is this war that has led to some remarkable changes in Germany's foreign security and defense policies. Prior to the war, Germany's foreign security policy was long driven by a high degree of continuity. Central tenets of German foreign and security policy have been, amongst others, a strong belief in diplomacy and multilateralism, and a deeply ingrained culture of military restraint. This has meant that German governments have been extremely hesitant to employ military force. They have also avoided delivering arms to conflict regions, but they have also been somewhat disinterested in investing in the federal armed forces. This is especially true of the governments led by Chancellor Angela Merkel. There has also been a deeply held conviction in Germany that positive change can be achieved through close political and economic engagement and interaction. And this has been a principle that has long guided German foreign policy towards Russia. However, now Russia's brutal attack on Ukraine has challenged many of these beliefs and notions and forced Germany to reconsider its position on several topics. Only days after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, Chancellor Olaf Scholz held a landmark speech in which he declared the Russian attack at Zeitenwende a historical turning point and argued that Germany should react accordingly. In his speech, Scholz announced that Germany would provide Ukraine with arms. He also said that Germany would support far-reaching sanctions against Russia. And he said that Germany would henceforth spend 2% of its GDP on defense, as has long been agreed within NATO. And quite remarkably, Scholz also promised that Germany would set up a 100 billion special fund to cover the needs of the federal armed forces. Now, since Olaf Scholz gave his speech, some of these pledges have indeed been turned into reality, and this includes, for example, the special fund of 100 billion for the federal armed forces. At the same time, Germany has been facing stiff criticism for its alleged sluggishness in supporting Ukraine and confronting Russia. Actually, Germany's fiercest critics are asking whether a Zeitenwende has really taken place, whether Germany is actually capable of adapting to a Europe where war is again reality. So the big question we are going to address today is, where is Germany heading? What has changed? What is changing? And what has maybe not changed? And what is maybe not going to change? To discuss these issues with me here, I have two people who are actually themselves very much involved in shaping German security and defense policy. On my left here, Dr. Marie-Agnes Strack-Zimmermann and Dr. Markus Faber. Now, both are members of the German parliament, as well as the German Defense Committee, with Mrs. Strack-Zimmermann acting as the chair of that committee. Both represent the liberal Free Democratic Party, FDP, which is the smallest of the three parties currently forming the German government. At the same time, the FDP and both of our speakers today have had a very visible role this spring in the discussion concerning Germany's role in European security and also the adequate response to the war in Ukraine. They have been speaking out in favor of more solidarity with Ukraine and also for more substantial military aid. So I'm very delighted to welcome you both to this discussion. Now, the way we are going to do it this morning is as follows. First, I will kick off the discussion with a couple of questions of my own, taking advantage of my privileges as chair. And after that, I will also open the floor for your questions. I hope that sounds good. First, as sort of an easy kickoff question, I'd like to hear your general assessment on where things are going. What do you think? How far-reaching, how profound, how durable are the changes that we have seen and we are seeing in German security and defense policy? Will this Russian attack on Ukraine actually have a lasting impact on German foreign security and defense policies, or is it still too early to actually announce the arrival of a real Zeitenwende? What do you think?
First of all, thank you very much for this invitation, and first of all, to the Finnish friends, that your image, Finnish image in Germany, it's really fantastic. And so everybody, nearly everybody in Germany is very happy that Finland and Sweden will join NATO. So it's very important for you to know that everybody feel really comfortable about this. This situation changed everything. We have a discussion. Minutes ago, we talked to each other, Mr. Faber and me, that nobody could imagine 1 year ago what will happen. And the discussion is a new one, and it's a new one especially because we have a new government. For the first in the history of Germany, we have 3 parties. You're told that we are, the liberals, are the smallest, the little one, but powerful, I swear. So it's not only 2, there are 3 parties. And you could imagine there's the Social Democratic and the Greens. They have, before the war came, a totally different view of these things, because the liberals had always said we need a powerful, more powerful army. And now, with the Zeitenwende, Scholz, our chancellor, he talked about the Zeitenwende. It's, of course, it's the Zeitenwende in our mind. But for us, as security people, it's a Zeitenwende for the Bundeswehr, because you're told that now we have 100 billion euro to renew our army. And it's very important to do it. It's really more than important to be part in NATO, to be part in European Union. And of course we have a discussion in Germany. I mean, every government would discuss how could we go on. And our opinion is that we have to stay strong to the Ukraine, not now and for the future, because this war, first of all, it's a war in the Ukraine and people there are fighting for their life. But it touches the whole free, democratic, free life, where human being has a very important role to play. And so, yes, it changed a lot. And many people in Germany, last word, many people in Germany needs to think. There are some who said, okay, Ukraine, where is Ukraine? There's one war more, so life will go on, but definitely not. Life will not go on like the last 10, 20, 30 years in Germany.
Dr. Faber, do you have any thoughts on how durable a shift we are talking about here?
I think there will be a durable shift. The question is, how big is it? And I think the shift for the Bundeswehr and the security of Germany and its alliance partners, and its alliance partners is quite big, because to spend $100 billion on your armed forces will have a significant impact. And we will lay down an economic plan for it. So we identified already 30 projects where we have to modernize our equipment, our armed forces. We will replace old fighter jets with new fighter jets, old tanks with new tanks, and so on. We will invest in ammunition. So for the alliance itself, and Germany is a cornerstone in Europe, there will be a big shift. But then the other pillar of the Zeitenwende obviously is supporting the attacked country. Ukraine is attacked by Russia, so we are standing on the side of Ukraine and we are going to support them. The question is just for how much support will they get, and it does make a difference on the battlefield. I have been in Ukraine 2 weeks ago, in Kiev, Kharkiv, in Donbass, Kramatorsk, Sloviansk, and it does make a difference if you have 3 rocket launchers or if you have 10 rocket launchers, as the Minister of Defense of Ukraine said yesterday. So if the Ukraine wouldn't have any rocket launcher by now, the Russians would probably stand at the Dnieper, as the Ukrainian soldier told me in Kramatorsk. So the question now is, how will this war end? Will it be a success story for Ukraine, or will it be a success story for Putin? And we are working that it does not pay off to attack your neighboring country. And this will be a decision for all of Europe, as we are at the Europa Forum here. It will be a question for the security situation for all of Europe, and I think that's why Germany has to deliver. We have the Zeitenwende, we have to do more, but other countries have to do as well, also such as Finland.
Now, you both touched on 2 big topics that I think we need to address here. Support for Ukraine, and then the plan to beef up Germany's own military capacity. Maybe we'll start with the kind of support Germany is providing to Ukraine. And like I already said, that has been a topic of a lot of discussion, both within Germany as well as in Europe more broadly. And Germany's role in supporting Ukraine has also been assessed very differently by different interlocutors in that discussion. Some have welcomed Germany for being so rapid, changing its formerly very hesitant position to actually announcing that it will support Ukraine. Whereas others have criticized Germany for being too slow, not providing the kind of equipment that has been pledged. You both have been very active in this discussion as well. How do you see the situation now? Is Germany doing enough? What does it look like in the longer run? It seems like this is going to be a very protracted war. It's going to still take quite a long time. Is Germany ready to continue providing support? How do you see these things?
We started a little bit too late. The discussion was from the first moment, but the government started in May. And so we need time, and we have to educate in a kind soldiers, Ukraine soldiers. Now it's getting much better, and it's a good sign that yesterday our chancellor said that we're going on. But we have a discussion about tanks. So we said we could also send tanks, German tanks, right now to the Ukraine. And this is a discussion, because there are some colleagues in the government who said a German tank versus a Russian tank, and they have a problem. But, you know, maybe you could edit that we have to do more. It's okay, but, you know, there is a lot to do, because the winter is coming, and there is no doubt that Putin will destroy the Ukraine, not only the eastern part of the Ukraine, the whole Ukraine. And you have always to talk about it. I know for many people it's come on, and there are different topics, of course, the question of energy, etc., etc. But I think we have to talk every day to explain what happens in the Ukraine.
Your question was, are we doing enough? I would rather answer, we could do more. the question of what is enough. I think, what is your aim? I think our aim for the Liberal Party, at least, is that Ukraine will win this war. We are very agreed on that. We had a party meeting about this question as well, and we are very united at that point. So if the aim is that Ukraine wins this war and has control over its territory, we could do more, as Finland could do more as well. Like you have 1,000 very well artillery systems, K9, we have 100, Panzerhaubitzes 2,000. We gave 10 Panzerhaubitzes to Ukraine, could be more. We have quite an industrial base in Germany. In such industrial base, we also have the measures to produce ammunition, for instance, for Ukraine, but also these companies in Germany, they have also older tanks stored that can be delivered to Ukraine. And the Ukrainian embassy in Germany and the Ukrainian government, they also made contracts with these companies, and they're waiting for an export license. And those export licenses have not been given in every case, so there are some 100 tanks that are waiting to be delivered. So what is enough? That's the question. I think we can agree on that Germany could do more, as other countries could do as well.
Yeah. Then maybe let's tackle the other big issue that has already been touched upon in this discussion, and that is this special fund that Germany has now already decided to set up. I mean, the parliament has already approved it, so now it's about implementing it. And that's where I would also like to ask you how the planning is going, what will be the priorities, to what extent are the decisions driven by the needs of the federal armed forces, and to what extent are you taking into consideration also NATO's needs as a whole? And then also one important aspect, how sustainable will this commitment to defense be? So now there is this special fund, but what will happen when that money will be used in some years' time? So.
Good question.
Our aim is not to spend all this money this year. This is not possible. There are not the factories to build all the stuff we need by now and to deliver it this year. So the idea is to spend it over the next 5 years, maybe. So this way we will also reach the 2% aim of NATO within the next for the next 5 years continuously, hopefully. So it is we are not so much in a rush here, but like our working group for defense and the parliamentary group, we laid down a paper what we guess would be important for the Bundeswehr right now. This was put in an economic plan of the government with 30 projects that said, okay, what will we spend the money on? And then now we are in a stage where contracts have to be made between the German government and certain companies. So mostly we will we will spend the money in modernizing equipment and for capabilities we already have, such as mentioned, replacing old fighter jets, Tornado, with new fighter jets, Eurofighter, F-35. But then we will also add some new capabilities to the Bundeswehr, such as medium-range ballistic missile defense. There's a system, Arrow 3, it's an American-Israeli system that has the ability to defend a whole region for us, the territory of Germany, against medium-range ballistic missiles, from which Russia has a lot. And we have by now just some Patriot systems that are able to maybe defend a city, such as Berlin. And I think by delivering such a ballistic missile defense system, we also give other countries the opportunity to join, to have it made bigger, so that those countries that are on a threat here, that are not directly at the border as Finland, where you have to care about artillery systems, you have to care about the direct invasion, but a bit further away, can join this German approach. Yes, that's basically it.
Maybe one question that I'd still like to ask you before I hand over to our audience. Now, German security and defense policy traditionally relies very heavily on NATO and the transatlantic link. But at the same time, Germany has also been at the forefront of developing the EU's security and defense dimension. So now, of course, in this situation with the war, we have seen NATO being very much in the limelight and sort of regain its old reason of being. But going forward, what are your views and what are also your preferences for the future of organizing European defense? What role will NATO play? What role will the EU play 5 years from now, for example?
5 years from now, or 10, 20 years from now.
Or 10, 20 years from now.
We are part of NATO, and this is very, very important. And of course, we have to play a new role. We have to lead more. And I know that other countries, members of NATO, especially the United States, are waiting for the sign. Because the United States, they will look to China, to the situation on the other side of the world. And there is a concrete idea that Europe has to be more responsible for things happens in our front, Africa, the Middle East, what happens there. So the United States are waiting for a sign that Germany is ready to lead. Of course, always talking with the partners. It's not only we lead and that's it. And I think that would be the new role for Germany. And for many people, it's a little bit irritated that this could be the new role. But we are a powerful country, even there are problems. We have the money. We are a big country, 83 million people living in Germany. We are right in the middle of Europe. It was a lucky situation for us because our neighbors are Denmark, Italy, Switzerland, Austria, France, wonderful countries making vacation. But if you are talking to the ambassador of Italy, he said, your partner, your colleague is Denmark, mine is Libya. So we have to realize that it's a lucky geographical situation for Germany, and because it's so lucky, we have to do more. And it's the end of the story. It's not enough anymore if there is a problem to pay it, and the solution will bring other countries. No, we are a part of this world, and we have to do more.
Now I would like to turn to the audience for any questions. I know that there are people who follow Germany very closely and also European security. So please, there's a microphone here at the front so that the viewers who see this over the stream can also hear your voice. So please, yes. And also please introduce yourselves.
Okay, good morning. My name is Kimmo Elo, and I'm from the University of Turku Center for Parliamentary Studies and following German and European policy since 20 years.
And speaks very well German.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the discussion so far. I have two small or bigger questions. First, actually, is following Tuomas' question about the impact on European Union. So how do you see, we have been talking very much in Finland about NATO membership, NATO's role in this crisis. What I'm missing is discussions about the future of the European Union as a consequence of this war in and on Ukraine. So I would be interested that how do you see the general process of integration affected by the conflict and war in Ukraine. And not just about the security policy, common foreign and security policy, but in general, is it more in the direction of disintegration, or maybe the other pole would be a more stronger role of federal union of Europe? That is my first question. This is also, of course, connecting to the ideas of Emmanuel Macron since, well, 5 years about the future of the European Union, as well the former German Foreign Minister Joschka Fischer with his Finalität, der Integration in 2000. So this was my first question, the impact on the European integration as a whole. And the second is, might be difficult to think in this situation, but the war will be over one day, sooner or later. And the tricky question is that we need to rearrange our relations to Russia after the war. So how do you see, how could we do that? What are the prospects? Because as a researcher, I'm quite convinced that Russia isolated from Europe in the future would turn to China and strengthen the role of China in global politics. So I would be interested about your ideas and insights about the future of European-Russian relations, well, in 20 years. Thank you very much.
Very small and easy questions, of course. Let's take these questions first and then see whether we have still time for some more questions from the audience.
I think we try to be short. I think a normalization of the European-Russian relations can just happen when this regime stops the war, and also the invading troops leave Ukraine. So then the sanctions can be put down, and we will probably have a normalization of the relations, and hopefully one day, like in other countries, also the government changes from time to time, so maybe this could happen in Russia as well. This is point one. And if it comes to NATO and European Union, I think the United States were a very reliant partner for decades, and hopefully they will stay for decades, but that's not so sure. So it's the aim of the European Union to have an own defense capability. And it's also very wise on the cost side to have a common procurement, for instance, to have a better economics of scale if it comes to buying military equipment of all kinds. So there should be a bigger European role in a procurement, for instance, but from the perspective of my party, the Liberal Party, we even want further integration within the European Union to think of, we have already European battle groups, but also to have a European common command and maybe one day a European army. I think if you see the size of these European armies right now in every nation and the size of other nations and also the armies, it is a good idea to have a common European army, as we will never fight against each other, hopefully, so we can do this together. Germany will go nowhere alone. That's what we learned from our history, never again, never alone. So if we're just going there with you, as you are in Finland, a partner, and you in NATO, we can also join forces.
If you talk to young people in Germany, especially when they are liberals, then they have the dream that sometimes we will have one army. But the thing is, we need, first of all, one foreign policy, one view of foreign policy and one view of defense. The problem now is that the geographic things are, I told you, Italy has a different view than Germany, than the northern countries in Europe. But I think the long end, if we will survive, is very powerful, but a small Europe, if you compare it with United States, China, and so on, then it would be a really good thing if we, in the far future, I think, realistic, to have one army and to see the view of the whole European continent.
So there are at least 3 more questions in the audience. I think Juha Pyykönen, you were the first one.
Thank you, Tuomas. Thanks for your presentations. I'm an entrepreneur, researcher, nothing special, and thank you for your informative presentations. Just a short comment, then a question. A European army for all of us, or European armed forces, means European Federation, if you ask me. That's the comment part. Then the question is, with the current situation evolving, we don't know the end result. My simple question is, what would be the division of roles between the EU, Common Defence and Security Policy, and NATO? There must be some sort of a clarification for the division of our common resources. I mean, the European states investing and funding both of the 2 organizations. More rational when funding these 2. And my idea of all this has been for 30 years plus that a division of labor would add to the efficiency and effectiveness of whatever organization in question. So what's the division of labor? Thank you.
Now, since we have limited time, let's take all those 3 questions together and then...
No, I think it's better.
Okay,
yeah.
you prefer to
Otherwise
do it this
I need
way.
paper.
Then,
I would try to make it very short.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
then we'll do it. Okay, if
Like,
you prefer.
If you ever look at it, there is no armed forces of Florida, there are no armed forces of California, and there are no armed forces of Minnesota. So there's just one United States Army. And this is the idea. So if we join our forces in the common European armed forces, these European armed forces will be a part of NATO. So it's not contradictory, and it's not the one way or the other. It's just integrating, such as we have strong forces in the United States of America, we can have a strong force in the United States of Europe.
And be part of NATO, not against it.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Okay, thank you. And let's have the second question.
Good morning. My name is Elina Ravanti. I'm from the Finnish Innovation Fund, Sitra, and I'm also a long-time friend of Germany and follow German politics very closely. Thank you for an excellent discussion. I would like to bring into the discussion another aspect of security. We have been talking about military security, but energy is also a very important part of security. And as we all know, Germany has made, or did make itself very dependent on Russia with this policy of, or this idea of Wandel durch Handel. Now Germany is in a new situation that affects also other parts of Europe when it comes to energy prices. How do you see, what are the concrete measures that Germany should use now in order to arrange its energy policies so that we could or take better into account this aspect of security? Thank you.
Of course, it's a huge topic in Germany. It's a huge wake-up call because the government, the last 10 years, you remember the discussion about Nord Stream 2. It was so crazy to do this because it was against the interests of Europe. And now Nord Stream 2 is dead. And that's the good thing, because we have to realize that we have to be independent. And it's interesting because we have now a discussion, what could we do now? And for Germans, we are really fast suddenly, because there is really pressure now to change something. And I remember that we have a good deal with gas with the Netherlands, and we changed it, going back from Netherlands more to Russia. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And now, you know, it's like in the private life. If there's pressure, then you really started to move. And so I think we have to be independent in a Europe way, and this is a moment to do it.
So then let's have the third question, and then I would give the floor to you.
Just short answers, but I hope you know what we are discussing in Germany.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will try to keep my questions very short as well. My name is Henrik Leitenberger. I'm the head of EU affairs for the Finnish technology industries, but I'm also a German citizen. So as such, I'm obviously very grateful now to hear you have the opportunity to hear your views now on how the Zeitenwende has progressed over the past years. And I have to admit, I have one question related to kind of the work that I do and one more in a personal capacity. The professional related question is that we obviously now spoke about the energy dimension of the crisis, but what about the cybersecurity dimension? What can and should do Germany together with the European Union do more in order to ensure that that the continent is basically secure against attacks on that level? And the second question, more in the personal capacity, is that we talked a lot about what the ambition of the Zeitenwende is, but obviously, if we have seen anything over the last 6 months, is that there seems to be a chasm between this ambition and what especially our European partners perceive to be the reality of it so far, with there being a quite great loss of confidence in terms of the German response to the invasion of Ukraine. How can we essentially bridge this gap and make sure that Anspruch und Realität essentially come together, not just in our minds as Germans, but also in that of our partners in NATO and the EU?
Thank you. And with these very easy questions again, I'll hand it over to you. We have a minute and a half to answer these.
Okay. We'll share those minutes. Yes, as a Liberal Party, we are very much in favor of our Chancellor and supporting his Zeitenwende. So, and we would be very hopeful that his own party will support this as well and go faster, stronger, further in supporting this Zeitenwende. That would be awesome. If it comes to cybersecurity, we will strengthen the cybersecurity of our armed forces, also with the Sondervermögen, invest in encrypted communication, for instance. But then the cybersecurity is also about civil infrastructure. And this will be dealt with in the normal budget. It will be strengthened by the Ministry of Interior. But we see that there's a lot to do in Germany, as Finland, for instance, far more advanced if it comes to such things.
Was ist Teilstreitkraft in English?
Oh.
What's the Teilstreitkraft? Maybe you could do. Okay, even you don't know. Okay, so that we in our army, if you compare it with other armies, we have a special Teilstreitkraft. Maybe the ambassador knows this word. Anyway, that we started very early, and because we know that the attacks are 24 hours, 7 days. I mean, it's not only now; it's always. And so it's really a huge thing. But let me just, the last 10 seconds about Zeitenwende. Zeitenwende, is there any word in Finnish for Zeitenwende? Or is Zeitenwende all over now in the world?
It's like kindergarten.
It's all over.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, it's like kindergarten, yes. So, it's not only a question about military stuff. It's not only the question that the army has to rebuild. I mean, this is in this situation really the main thing. But you have to explain German people, even in my age, not really the really young. If you talk to people, to young girls and men 20, 25, they realize that something happens. But the generation who grew up in Germany the last 60 years in peace, in freedom, and a really good life, always like this. And you have to explain them if they love to live the next 30 years in a lucky way. And the chance is very well if you are drive carefully by car. Then you have to realize that our job, our role, it's a new one. And I think this would be a really hard discussion. This is a discussion because the situation changed, and maybe your life has to change. And this is, it's hard stuff. But you see my hair color, it's couldn't be worse.
Okay, with these words, we'll close this session now, because we don't have any more time left. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, you too, and thank you to our audience.
Thank you. My name is Anders Blom, and I'm the chairman of Europe Forum in Turku. I want to thank especially German Embassy. We highly appreciate and value your support in producing this discussion, and we hope that German input to our forum in the future will continue. Danke schön.